Peace. Welcome to the Scrap and Roll MMA podcast. I'm your host, Sky. And if you're looking around like, what the heck is going on? My co-hosts, where are they? Where's Jace? Where's Damien? Where's CJ? They're nowhere to be found. If you guys don't know, we typically record Tuesday nights. And today is Halloween. And so everybody's out enjoying Halloween festivities. But I would have felt bad if I just would have left y'all hanging. Like, the people who do listen weekly, we appreciate y'all. And if y'all would have came Wednesday morning thinking the pod's out and there's no pod, I couldn't leave you hanging like that.
That would have been good.
Right. So I dug deep and I went to the archives low key, because we're on episode 52. I went back to episode number 2 and I brought Danny. Y'all might not know Danny because a lot of y'all just recently started watching the podcast, but this is my wife, Danny. She's a novice. She's a casual. She doesn't. Number one casual. She doesn't know much about anything. She just
first of all, I resent that.
True. That's true.
I know a lot about a little.
That's true.
Because you'll be like, how you know that? How you know that? I know. When you start paying attention and you start watching and you have certain favorites and stuff, But can I call people out? Stuff like that? No, not as well as the crew. But hey, I want my cred where cred's due.
That's true. You've called some epic.
I've done a 9-card. Wait, I did an all but one fight card before
out of 15. Yeah, I mean, you typically hit pretty well as far as predictions, and so she does her thing. Or if you guys also watched us doing the Tough Reaction show, me, her, and CJ, we were all on there having a good time. That was a real good time. But anyways, let's go ahead and just jump right into it. This weekend there was no UFC. We only had Francis Ngannou versus Tyson Fury. If y'all, why are you looking at me like that?
Because it was the craziest thing ever. I'm just up and walking around, she's watching it, doing what she can. All of a sudden, I'm talking to my mother on the phone, and this yell is so loud that she made my loving mother stand up on the other side of the phone. She stood up. She said, "Oh, what is going on?" And I was like, "That's Guy yelling. There's a fight." She goes, "Oh, I should know it's the fight."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And she was hollering, and she's like, "Oh, good God." And she just got up, and she just like, "Let me just go ahead and walk." But you made her jump up.
Because round number 3 was when this happened. Of course, if you guys watch the fight, Francis Ngannou sat Tyson Fury's ass down. I was absolutely ecstatic. In my opinion, Francis won. I gave him rounds 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, and 10. So even if 4 is one that maybe you could give to Fury if you wanted to, and even if you did, with 10 being a 10-8 or with 3 being a 10-8 round, I still feel like Francis did more than enough to win that fight. As y'all know, they gave it to Tyson Fury. Everybody's pretty much up in arms about it.
I mean, but doesn't he have to fight for a championship? Because if they wouldn't have been able to do the next fight had he lost, he wouldn't have been able to fight, something like that. But boxing's boxing. He would
have been able to fight, but because they weren't fighting for Tyson's belt, because it wasn't. This was Ngannou's first boxing match, so they couldn't sanction it for the belt. WBC wouldn't, but obviously, Francis Ngannou did so well. The WBC said they were going to put him in the top 10 heavyweights just based off of that fight. So it was incredible. Shout out. Listen, if y'all remember on the last pod, right at the end, I said we sacrificed a GOAT for Francis Ngannou to win. We sacrificed Israel Adesanya. We sacrificed Alex Volkanovski. And we won. I don't care. The MMA gods are real. We won. The MMA gods heard us. And Francis Ngannou went inside there.
Didn't hear him. Might not heard us, but they heard you. Everybody heard her yelling.
Yeah, they went inside there. They got it done. In my opinion, Francis looked great. Y'all know from the very beginning when all this boxing stuff started. If y'all been watching for a while, I kept saying Francis is gonna go inside there and get pieced the fuck up by Tyson Fury. I gave Francis 0 chance, just like everybody else. But then I remember Terrence Crawford came on Ariel Helwani's show. And he was just talking so smug about boxing and MMA fighters. And it just rubbed me the wrong way. And I came on here and I was like, you know what? I'm changing my mind about this slowly but surely. And then as it started getting closer and all these boxers was talking that BS, I was like, no. We need this. We need this. And so last week, I picked Francis to win. I was rooting for Francis. In my opinion, he won. He looked great. Tyson.
I mean, pictures next to each other. side by side. One looks like he was really in a fight, and the other one looked like he might have ran a 400-meter lap just to warm up.
Exactly. So shout out to Francis Ngannou. What's next for him? He could potentially fight Tyson Fury again. They're talking about potentially him boxing Deontay Wilder, which would be sign me up. Like sign me up for him versus Fury again. Sign me up for him versus Wilder. I'm a little bit more intrigued by that just because like you got two crazy power punchers, and what that would look like because somebody gonna get hit with the touch of death. And or potentially Deontay Wilder going to PFL and doing like some type of crossover, not quite MMA, but like some type of mixed rules event. That would be cool. Kind of like, like we seen with Demetrius Johnson versus, I can't believe I just blanked on his name, Rod Tang, where they did MMA and in one round and Muay Thai another round, so on and so forth. So I'd be interested in seeing that. I'd be interested in Francis staying in boxing. I mean, he's 37 years old.
He looked good. I thought he looked really solid as a boxer. I mean, and that's just me just looking. I'm like, you know what? He looks like he's a boxer. So
yeah, I mean, he looked good. He's 37 years old. He wants to do this boxing thing. Hey, like now's the time. Like he has the potential, his next fight to make another $10+ million. So why not? Like you're 37, go out there and get as much money as possible. Because when you come over to the MMA side, especially at PFL, like PFL is going to pay him,
but not like that.
But not like boxing. You know what I mean? So he has the opportunity to make as much money as possible. I did have somebody, I did have somebody come to the comments on the last episode. Shout out to Bradley. Bradley had came like a couple months back on another Francis thing, and he's really passionate about Francis Ngannou and the things that I have to say about Francis Ngannou. Once again, I still encourage Bradley to come on the show because it's hard when you're writing like a whole bunch of text and stuff. Like typically, I don't want to go back and forth with somebody about it, but he's super respectful, and so I love that. He's respectful and when you're going back and forth, typically with MMA fans, they usually start calling you a casual or calling you outside of their name or just being disrespectful. So it's nice like when you can have dialogue between two fans who have
Discord. I mean, I love that. I'd love to be able to have that banter back and forth and just have civil discord to where you can really just put out your facts and your points because everybody's right.
Mm-hmm. Everybody has right. Not always.
Yeah, there's a right. You can find something right about it. But
and I'm not far off from his opinion, but yeah, Bradley, if you see this, would love to have you on, podcast to talk about it. Because we don't, it's much easier to articulate when somebody's like actually here verbally speaking. But as far as what's next for Francis, if you guys haven't heard, PFL Bellator is officially going on. Why are you looking at me crazy? You looking at me like this?
Okay, it's because I'm setting funny, and then I'm looking at the camera, and then I'm like, how am I setting? Then I'm like, am I supposed to look at the camera? Then I'm looking at myself, and then I'm just like, oh, my shoulders hurt. Oh, maybe straighten up. There's a lot going on here, folks. I'm usually downstairs watching something, doing something.
Listen, I was like, you know what? Someone has to come be on here with me. They're not going to listen that long. But PFL has bought Bellator. Like I had talked about a couple podcasts ago, a Bellator fighter had reached out to me and let me know that PFL was going to be buying them, but everything was going to stay the same pretty much over at Bellator. So it came out that, it'll stay Bellator running as its own company, technically, like, new ownership, but for the next 2 years. That'll be interesting to see. The only fight there. Oh, one thing I thought was really interesting. So the owner of PFL was on the MMA Hour on Monday, and he talked about like what should be next for Francis, blah, blah, blah. And like I've been telling y'all, but y'all don't want to hear, there's nobody wants to watch him fight anybody inside PFL.
Nope.
There's nobody inside PFL that want to see Francis fight. He admitted that out of his own words. He goes, there's not really that much competition. We haven't really found the right suitor. He was like, okay, him versus Deontay Wilder in the PFL cage would be cool. Right? But he's like, he's not pushing Francis to come and do an MMA fight right now because he knows that there's not anybody. But I think one thing that'd be cool, this is something that Jason and I talked about, is since they did buy out Bellator, I think a good fight for Francis would be Ryan Bader. Ryan Bader is the heavyweight champion over at Bellator. So up under Francis's belt would be him beating Stipe Miocic, who is, regarded as the UFC's best heavyweight. And then him going over beating Tyson Fury, beating the best boxer in heavyweight, of our time. And then if he gets past Ryan Bader, which I'm sure he would, then he's taken out like a lot of great heavyweights, and it will really just push and help his legacy. But who knows what's gonna happen with Bellator and PFL, the fighters, who's gonna stay, who's gonna go. It'll be interesting. But as far as I know, that's all that happened this weekend was Francis. Shout out to Francis. He looked great. He got it done. He got the bag.
And he was humble at the end. He was just like, yeah, I just need to work a little harder. It's my first time. I just wanted him to be like, I won. I mean, this is just ridiculous. But you know what? If I didn't get it, I think he did a really good job being humble at the end. But I kind of wish he kind of just told him. Or somebody sat up there and said something instead of like what Lewis Lynch like, oh, he lost. I'm like, who is this old cat? I was like, why is he saying this? And I was like, and then she was like, that's Lennox. I'm like, oh my God, why would he even say that? But yeah, I wish somebody would have just said it. I mean, they did some of the podcasts, but I wish in the ring they would have said it. I think Fury knows he lost.
Yeah, Fury knows, the media knows, the world knows, everybody knows. Hey, shout out to a listener. They usually comment on YouTube. He goes by the name Limited. And anytime there's any type of boxing going on, like he always comes through, drops a long, lengthy comment, just like really breaking boxing down, because I'm a boxing casual. Jace is more into boxing than I am. I think me and CJ are pretty much like, we'll casually watch, but he drops gems a lot of times, and he was right. He called it. He said either Ngannou by knockout or Ngannou loses by robbery decision. And he was dead ass, like broke everything down. And then like after the fight, he came back and he was like, hey, my sport, like I love boxing, but like it's corrupt and they're not even trying to hide it. We had the exact same scorecard as far as how the fight went or how we seen the fight going. So, that's boxing. For me, I know it was super disappointing. I just kept thinking to myself, like, I don't know if I can watch boxing again. I don't know.
But she will.
But I will. Come
You know
on.
you will.
We do this every week. Every time there's a terrible decision.
I can't watch it. And I'll be back.
Yeah. I mean, I'll just continue to be a casual. I'll continue to watch, the big fights. Anytime anytime Gervonta Tank Davis is fighting, I'm definitely watching. That's hands down without a doubt. Oh yeah. And of course, today is Halloween. This has nothing to do with anything, but I'm wearing my orange Max Holloway hoodie. I only wear it on this time because it's the big orange sweater. Like, why would I be? Yeah, but anyways, that's the only way I can get Max inside here, at least for this.
Everything comes back to Max. There's many roads to Max.
There's all roads.
We're driving up the road. We're having a good time on the highway. We're talking about something about family, this and that, yada, yada, situation. I don't know. Next thing you know, Max is in the conversation. Somehow, well, yeah, that's why I like Max. That's what Max does. Max, I just want you to understand that you and I are friends in the head. We talk a lot. I know a lot about you. Yeah, every road leads to Max, and I'm not mad about it, but you always find a way, either Max or Drake.
Yeah.
Those two names are going to show up in a conversation.
Somehow. I'm going to find a way to weave them in, Shout out to them. This weekend, we're going to wrap it up quickly. This weekend, we have the Brazil card. Jailton Almeida is taking on My Balls is Hot, Derek Lewis. Shout out to Derek Lewis. My balls are hot. Shout out to Derek Lewis. He actually got arrested like a couple days ago for going 136 miles per hour in a 50-mile limit.
Shame.
He wasn't drunk. He wasn't drunk.
Shame.
I mean, shame, yes, but he also wasn't drunk. I mean, so pick and choose what's going on there. But yeah, Jailton Almeida versus Derek Lewis. Jailton's been on a really great streak in the heavyweight division. I do unfortunately think that he's gonna get. This was originally supposed to be Jailton versus I want to say Curtis Blades. And I think Curtis got hurt.
Comment below if that's the right name.
Yeah, I can't remember right now off the top of my head. I don't think it was. I don't think that it was. But I can't remember. But anyways, we got Derek Lewis stepping up, and it should be a good fight. I definitely don't think it goes to decision. I think Jailton either submits him, wrestles him, submits him, or Derek, comes out and does something crazy. Hey, after Derek came out in his last fight with the with this flying knee, we don't know what to expect from that boy. He might go ahead and get it done. So we'll see. We got the Bonfim brother. We only got one of the Bonfim brothers on here. Oh no, we got two. Okay, we got Ishmael and we have Gabriel. So y'all know the Bonfim brothers have been looking great, especially when they've been on the same card. I know that Ishmael, he lost his last fight. Who was it against? It was against Saint Denis, he's been running through absolutely everybody recently, and he ran through him, submitted him. But I think this is a pretty solid Brazil card. Hopefully Brazil does better this time around, because last time in Brazil, earlier this year, like the crowd was not it, and we expect the Brazilian crowd to be like the loudest, best card, and they was acting up. They started throwing stuff at Brandon Moreno. You remember that earlier this year. So hopefully, we see something different. We got Superman himself, Cal. I can never say his name, so I'm not even gonna do it. But y'all know who I'm talking about. It should be
that guy that looks like one of those fighters from back in the day that go,
put him up, put him up.
I mean, but it was like the English fighters that fought like this?
Yeah. I don't know.
Right there. Look down on the screen. Down, right here. That dude,
Vince Pichel.
Vince?
Oh,
I don't know.
I don't know. Kind of. No, that's not him though. But yeah.
Interesting. Big mustache. Like, yeah.
I mean, we got Angela Hill. They be burying her way down in the card. This is low key a dangerous fight for Angela, because I want to say Angela might be 15-15 right now, even though we all know that Angela has been in some very close fights that majority of the people thought that she won, but it went the other way. Last time in her fight against Mackenzie Dern, I mean, talk about heart. Angela never gave up on herself, and she was getting beat the hell up. Mackenzie Dern, after a divorce, was not to be messed with, and Angela Hill got the brunt of all of that. So, shout out to Angie. She's going up against Denise Gomez, who came out and shattered everybody's dreams at I don't remember if it was 296 or if it was at UFC Noche. Let me see. I think it was 296. Yep, at 296 when she got Jasmine Yagiri out of there, knocked her out in like 13 seconds. That was heartbreaking. Like the whole crowd was quiet. Me and CJ was like, "Oh hell, what just happened?" So this is gonna be a tough fight for Angela Hill, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean it's a Mark Duquessis, I know I'm saying his last name wrong. He hasn't fought since Michael Johnson put them hands on him, because he was over there trying to be cute in the octagon, trying to be all swift, and Michael Johnson just stuck to the basics and got him out of there. Well, he didn't finish him, but he beat him and really showed. But I think it's going to be a good card. I'll definitely be watching. The main card does start a little bit earlier than usual, or a little bit later than usual. It starts at 6 p.m. and the prelims, start at 3 p.m. So, yeah, it should be a good card. Anyways, I just wanted to quickly jump inside here and talk about this weekend. I know next weekend will definitely be here. Oh, I'm sure everybody has already heard, like right after we got done rapping, like maybe an hour or two later, last week we found out that John Jones was out of 295. And so now we have Tommy Aspinall versus Sergey Pavlovich. Is it Pavlovich or Spiegel? Yeah, it's Pavlovich. We have them as the co-main now for the interim title, and what's your boy's name has been moved up. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Yuri Prohaska versus Alex Pereira. There we go. That's now the main card at UFC 296, or is it 295? Yeah, 295. So next week, everybody else should be on. CJ, Damian, Jace, me, and I think we might also have a guest. Yeah. We might also have a guest next week. So make sure that you come in. And yeah, that'll be next week. We'll be going over 295 from top to bottom. That's going to be super exciting. But we didn't want to leave y'all hanging. It's a nice, short little episode. Take this time to go check out some of the other videos.
Check them out
on the page. Comment over there.
Leave comments.
But until then, we are out. Peace.